Everyone uses find and replace, but this little dialog box has powerful options most people have never even heard about. Today, I'll show you find and replace tricks that go way beyond changing text. We'll reformat cells without touching their values, clean up messy data with wildcards, update hard-coded values inside formulas, and do it across an entire workbook in one click. You can download the free practice file in the description. I'll start with a trick that always blows people away: replacing cell formats, not their values. Let's say I've prepared this report with the large numbers formatted in millions, so the figures are easier to read. But now my boss has changed their mind and wants the numbers shown in thousands instead. The problem is these numbers aren't all in one contiguous range. They're scattered throughout the report with different formats interspersed. So instead of manually formatting each section one at a time, we can use find and replace to find cells with the current number format and replace it with a new number format. I'll Control H to open the Find and Replace dialog box. Click on Options to open the advanced settings. And then in the Format drop-down, we can choose a format from a cell, but I don't want to pick up all of the formatting. I don't want the fonts and the colors. I just want to control the number format. So I'm going to go into Format. This opens the formatting pane that we're familiar with, and then Custom. I'm going to scroll to the bottom because that's usually where the custom number formats that you've written yourself will appear. And there's the format for millions. Click OK. And then in Replace With, I'm going to go into Format again and set a new custom format. Scrolling to the bottom, I'm going to select the format that is already set up and then just modify that. So instead of millions, I want thousands. So I delete one of the commas and change M to K. Click OK. And now I can replace all. I get a notification to say it's made 44 replacements. And just like that, my report is updated. Quick tip: next time you open the Find and Replace dialog box, click the drop down here and choose Clear Find Format, and likewise for Clear Replace Format, so that you don't inadvertently change formats as well as changing text. Next up, wildcards. Most people think of wildcards as something you use in formulas, but they also work inside Find and Replace. And for messy exports, they can save you a lot of manual cleanup. Here's a bank transaction export. The descriptions are full of extra details: trip numbers, marketplace codes, country codes, random reference numbers, all the usual noise you get from bank downloads. And those extra details might be useful for the bank, but they're not useful when you want to summarize spending by merchant. So I want a clean vendor column to contain simple, consistent names. I'll start by copying the descriptions across with the keyboard shortcut Control R, and then Control H to open the Find and Replace dialog box. We'll start with Uber. So I want to find Uber. Now the text after Uber is different depending on the transaction. So we're going to use the wildcard asterisk, which means match any number of characters after this point. And then I'm going to replace it with Uber. Click Replace All. Because I had that column selected, it's only replacing the descriptions in the vendor column. It's made 6 replacements. Great. Let's do the next one, which is Amazon asterisk, and we're going to replace that with Amazon. Let's replace 7, and then Spotify. Now Spotify is a little bit different because it's in the middle of the text. So we want asterisk, then Spotify, followed by another asterisk, and we're going to replace it with Spotify. Replace all. Now the 2 asterisks are telling Excel to find anything that contains Spotify anywhere in the text string. And I should note that because I haven't checked match case, it's not case sensitive on this find and replace. There's also a question mark wildcard, and this one is more precise. It matches exactly 1 character. So you can see I've got POSFEs, POSFE 1, 2, and then POSFE int. I want to replace POSFE where it ends in a number, but not the int. So for that, I can type in POSFE and then question mark. And I'm going to replace that with local bank fee. And here I need to make sure match entire cell contents is checked. This is important because I only want cells that are exactly POSFE plus 1 character. Without that checked, it's going to replace the values for POSFE int as well. Let's replace all. And now POSFE int is unchanged, but all my POSFEs with the number on the end have been changed to local bank fee. That's the difference between the asterisk and the question mark. The asterisk is broad and the question mark is specific. This next one has saved me from a lot of bad days. Find and replace can look at the values in your cells or the formulas behind them. If you've ever copied sheets from one file to another, where the formulas in those sheets referenced other sheets in the file, the cell references get prefixed with the original file name, which is typically not what you want. You can see in the formula bar, it's got the original file name, followed by the sheet name, then the cell reference. Now in this table, it's easy to edit the formula, delete the reference, and then copy it down. But quite often there are other formulas throughout the sheet with these legacy file paths that also need fixing. So an easy way to fix them all in one go is with find and replace. I'll start with Ctrl+C to copy the file name from the formula, then Ctrl+H. In find what, I'm going to paste in the file name, and in replace with, I'm going to leave that blank. Under options, make sure look in is set to formulas, and then click replace all. It's all finished and has made 20 replacements. My formulas are still intact, and now they're only referencing the sheet called variables in the current file instead of the external file that I copied the sheet from. This is also brilliant when you want to rename a range or a table reference across hundreds of formulas at once. If you'd like more hidden tips like these, check out my Excel Expert course. It's designed to help you work faster, analyze data more confidently, and use Excel's more advanced tools properly without wasting time figuring it all out on your own. You'll find the link in the video description. Now, by default, find and replace only looks at the active sheet, but there's another drop-down that almost nobody touches. Here I've got 3 regional sales sheets, North, South, and East. Each one references our supplier called Acme Corp in several rows. Acme is just rebranded to Acme Global, and I need to change it everywhere. So Ctrl+H, we're finding Acme Corp, and we're replacing it with Acme Global. And under within, we want workbook so that it checks every sheet in the file. Now, to be on the safe side when you're about to replace across a whole workbook, it's a good idea to click Find All first. Excel gives you a list of every match found with its sheet name, cell address, and the value. So you can quickly check that it's not going to replace anything you didn't intend. And if anything ever does go wrong, remember Ctrl+Z undoes the entire batch in one step. So I'm happy with that. Let's click Replace All. It's made 15 replacements, and I can close the dialog box. Did you know you can find and replace line breaks? The way you do it is so obscure you'd never figure it out on your own. Here's a list of fictional addresses. Let's say they were pasted in from an email. Each address has the street, city, and postcode on separate lines inside the same cell. For mail merging, sorting, or just reading in a list, we need them on one line separated by a comma. Now there's a hidden character that creates these line breaks. It's character 10 if you've ever used the formula. But we can't use a formula in the Find and Replace dialog box, so you have to type in the line break. Let's select the cells, Ctrl+H. In the Find What, we need to type it in using the keyboard shortcut Ctrl+J. Now you can't see anything in the Find What field other than my cursor blinking periodically, and that's correct. It's the invisible line break character. And then in Replace With, I'm going to put a comma and a space. And then click Replace All. It's made 24 replacements. And now every address is on one clean line. And this works on anything that came out of an email, a PDF, or a system export with awkward line wrapping. There is one thing to watch out for. Excel sometimes remembers Ctrl+J the next time you open Find and Replace. So you need to go into the Find What field and just backspace to get rid of it. So if your next replace acts weird, click in the Find box, press the backspace to clear it out before you start typing again. Find and Replace is one of those tools that most people think they already know until they open options and realize Excel's been hiding half the useful stuff in plain sight. And it's not the only one. There are a few everyday Excel tricks that make your files easier to build and easier to update and much harder to break. But for some reason, nobody teaches them when you're first learning Excel. So if you want the kind of tips that make you think, why did no one show me this years ago? Watch this video next. I'll see you there.